Okay. I don't know what I ran into. I don't know if that was a random asteroid bug or oh, it looks like I actually hit an asteroid that I didn't see. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Fist-25, and as per a request from a couple members of the Cobra Force and from some of our viewers here, we're going to do a little video on basically how to fly a ship in Star Citizen, just the basics of that stuff, and how to get around the verse a little bit, maybe some very basic dogfighting stuff, just the basics. And so this will be a new video tutorial on kind of how to work your ship, and it's all coming at you right now. So we are here at Everest Harbor, and first thing we got to do once we get to the ASOP terminal is call our ship. So let's go ahead and do that. What ship should we fly? I don't know. I got a bunch of choices here, but I think before we call our ship, let's go into our Mobiglass here by hitting F1 on the keyboard, and then down on the bottom here you got all these different things on the Mobi. We're going to go into the vehicle loadout manager, which looks like an airplane. From here, if you already have a ship that you've pulled, it'll actually, if you wait long enough, it'll show up on the screen, but you won't be able to do anything to it. So what you want to go over here is up here to select ship and go to the drop down, and from here you can scroll through all the different ships that you own, and you see I own a bunch. Over my course of playing, I have actually grabbed a bunch of ships, but we'll go ahead and use a starter ship in this one. I was thinking about doing the Nomad, but I was thinking about doing the Alpha, but let's actually do the Cutlass Black. So we're going to go to the D's, we're going to go to Drake, we're going to go to Cutlass Black. Going to bring up our ship on the screen, and here, over here we have, well, it's not rendering all the way, but kind of a wireframe of the ship. And there we go. So now it's out there with its exterior and its paint. The first button you come across is the miscellaneous stuff, but really it's missiles. So these are all the different missiles I have on the Cutlass Black. The very first one, you can see that it's a size 3 hardpoint with a size 3 missile. Missile slot number 2 here, the Tempest, that is the item port. Sorry, item port is a, oh geez, there we go. It's a size 2 over here, so it can carry size 2 missiles. The way that all that stuff is linked is over here on the weaponry tab and the missile racks you have laid out. So you can see here that these guys over here, the one that ends with a 3, that means I'm carrying size 3 missiles. So what the 4 means to start with is it's a size 4 hardpoint. That means you can fit a missile launcher on there that would be able to hold one size 4 missile. Or, in the case of this missile rack, number 4, I can hold, it's a size 4, but I can hold 2. The middle number is the quantity of missiles, and the last number is the size of missile. So a size 4 missile launcher can hold 2 size 3s. A size 4 missile launcher number 6 here the size 4, it can hold 4 size 2s. So do you see how it kind of adds up? And it would be able to hold 8 size 1s if I were to put that on there. So, and that one is down here at 481. Size 4 rack holds 8 size 1 missiles. But we want a little more punch into our missiles here. So I'm going to go ahead and load up the Cutty Black with all size 3s. So how do I do that? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is find my size 3 missile rack, which is this one. We're going to go over here. We're going to equip that. We're going to come here, equip it. That one's already a size 3. We got to find all our size 2s. Oh, we got everything on a size 3. So let's go back to missiles. Now you see we have a bunch of empties here. So under empty, now we can go in here. It's a size 3. We can pick the different size 3s we're going to put on here. An arrestor, which is a cross section. Thunderbolt, which is electromagnetic. A Viper, which is infrared. And the Chaos, which is a Van Duel type of missile, and it's infrared as well. So let's do a mix of EM, which is the arresters. I'm sorry, cross section is the arresters. And let's do some Thunderbolts. It's usually what I like to do. Typically the EM missiles give the most damage, but I think they're also the easiest ones to avoid. So now we got a pretty decent mix in here, mostly cross section with a few EMs. Under propulsion, this is your quantum drive. So it depends on what you want. This XL1 here is the fastest for a size 2 ship. So you can see down here, it's a size 2, it's a grade 1, it's a class grade A, it's military. If you look it up on Urkel.games, it'll actually show you that it goes the fastest. So we're going to go ahead and pick that one. Other options that are pretty viable is the Jaeger, which is a grade B military, and the Crossfield, which I have up here, it's a grade C military. They're all pretty much the same speed. I believe it comes stock with a Bolon, which is an industrial C, but you should upgrade that when you have a chance. Under systems, the top 2 are coolers, right? The coolers is what's going to cool down your weapons, allow you to use afterburner for longer, stuff like that. So under cooler, you have a bunch of options. It does not come with the snowpack. The snowpack is the best industrial grade A cooler you can get. It has the most cooling capacity. So I highly recommend you pick up some snowpacks for size 2. I think they're the best. Under power plant, I go with the military variant of the JS400. It is a grade A military size 2. For me, it doesn't provide the most power, but it provides the quickest reboot to power, and it still provides a lot of power. The downside of the Cutty Black is it only has one shield. In this case, I picked the Rampart because it's the best shield available with hit point pool. So it is an industrial shield, so it takes a while to charge up. It is a grade A, but it has the highest hit points. You could go with something like a Sucheron if you have a size 2 Asperia ship like a Prowler. You could definitely use a Sucheron in there, and that's really good against ballistics. But I use Rampart because it's in general good against laser and ballistic. Under weaponry, so we already changed our missiles. I don't usually go with a gimbal build, but I have a repeater build on here right now. I have, on the right wing and left wing, I have attrition 3 repeaters, which they kind of show up. I believe they're right there. Yeah, can you see them highlight? They're going to highlight over here, right? So there's the right wing, there's the left wing, and then I have my Gatlings, my 220s. I believe they're up here on the ship. And when I highlight those, you can see they kind of change different colors as well. And then up on the turret right here, I have 2 attrition 3s. I typically like this build. It's not gimbaled, but that's okay. And then for paint, I have either the green livery, my Cutty green, I have the standard Cutlass black, and then I have the Best of Show livery, which is my favorite, which is the Cutty white. So we're going to go ahead and click Save Changes. You'll know it's done when all the little yellow triangles go away. And we're ready to go. So let's go ahead. It's super loud in here for some reason. Let's go down to Drake Cutlass Black. And we will retrieve. So the ASOP terminal is going to tell us what pad it's on since we're at Everest Harbor. There's either pads or hangers, but this one, it's going to be on a pad. Pad number 4. So we're going to walk over here to one of the elevators, and we're going to call the elevator. Remember, the interaction button is F, and then it's a left click here for the call the elevator. And we can even see on our screen that we have the marker for the Cutlass Black. Pad 4, that's a new thing in 3.12 that tells you exactly where your ship is after you've called it. And just like in real life, sometimes it takes the elevators a while to come up to your floor. But this one finally came up to our floor. We're going to get away from some of that super loud noise. And I forgot, oh, we're in pad 4. So we're going to scroll down until we get to pad 4. Left click. And the elevator's going to take us to pad 4. While you're in first person, if you hit F4, you can kind of get a look at your character here. If you hold down the Z key, you'll get a free look and you can kind of spin around. If you hit F4 again, you get an even further out look of your character. I really like that armor set. I think it looks pretty cool. And then if you have F4 one more time, you go back into your first person camera. I can't wait till the day where we can actually play this game a little more in third person, because I like being able to switch. And there we go. The doors have opened. My helmet is on. Let's get out of there. Now we're in space. And so this is the Cutlass Black. I'm not really doing much of a ship tour here, but we can take a look around it. Now you see there's a ramp access right there, because it says ramp access, and it's right there. You see we still have our ship marker there. And then this little guy on the bottom here is just basically the center point of the pad. It's not going to tell us anything. It's basically the game saying, hey, spawn this ship here. You can technically get in via these doors. It requires a well-timed jump. Sometimes I can get it. Most of the time I can't. It'd be cool if there was a ladder system to try to do it. Usually when there's like low gravity, you can get up in there. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that. You can close the doors from the outside as well. Close door. And it's a good point to jump out of your ship too. Up there is the cockpit for the bottom one is the main pilot, and the lower one is for, or I'm sorry, the upper one is for the co-pilot. And then we got our standard, Drake stuff here with we got VTOL engines, so we're going to have to rotate our engines. But let's go ahead and get in the back. We're going to hit F by our ramp, click it. Door's going to open, we're going to back up. And our ramp came down. We're going to come back in. We're going to hold down F and close the door. Okay, so now we're in basically our unpowered ship, so there's no lights on right now. We can use our helmet light and take a look around. It's very industrial, very Drake, very bare bones. This guy also will open your door, as well as this guy will open your door. So a couple different ways. Like I said, you can leave your ship via these side doors, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. You can do it on either side. There is nothing over there. I think this would be a good place to have like a space toilet, but anyway. As we move out of the cargo area here, the door's going to open and we're going to go into the main cabin. This guy right here, this is our turret. So if we want to get into the turret, that's where we go, and we'll do that when we're in space. There's 2 racks here for pilot, co-pilot. That's really about it. There's you can open these little storage lockers, but you can't really do anything with them right now. I don't even know if I can close it. Should be able to close it. Oh, nope, open the other one. There are some weapon racks here in which you can... I can't pull out a weapon right now because I'm an armistice, but you can store a weapon there, so I'll show you that later. But as we come up to the cockpit, you can see this back seat. Wow, that's not supposed to be doing that. This back seat is the co-pilot, and this front one is the pilot. We're going to click enter pilot seat. Oh, we messed up already because I still have my light on. See, I can't turn my light off on my seat, so I'm going to exit the seat real quick. And I'm going to hit T, turn off my torch. I'm going to re-enter the pilot. See, I don't want all that glare that my flashlight brings. Okay, so now we're in here, and we're going to hit R to turn on the entire ship. All right, so the lady told us our systems are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and go into third person. So now we can see the Cutty black. It's ready to go. To lift off, you're going to actually hit the space bar. The space bar controls your upward thrust, and the left control button controls your downward thrust. So let's hit space, and you see we're going real fast because you can see those engines right there. They're in the VTOL configuration. So as we go up, it's a lot of power. Now, you can see our landing gear and all that is still down. So to cycle our landing gear, got it, buddy. To cycle our landing gear, you're going to hit the in button, in for November, in. And you can see our landing gear went up. That's important. You see how I'm free looking around the ship right now? I'm holding down the Z key. If I didn't hold down the Z key, you'd see our ship would be moving all over the place. And we don't want to do that. So hold down Z and you'll move around your ship. Now, let's say you get into this position. You're like, I need to go back to my default look. Hold down F4 and hit the asterisk button on your number pad. And it puts you right back to your normal view. If you want to zoom out, hold down F4 and zoom out with your mouse wheels. Scroll down. You actually zoom out. If you want to scroll in or zoom in, you can do that too. Scroll up with your mouse while holding the F4 button. You'll do it. You can still control your ship in this configuration. And you can actually get a good little screenshot of your pilot. That's me up there. Oh, let's get a screenshot of me in Evers Harbor and Hurston. What do you guys think? Maybe, should we make this the thumbnail? Let's find the right spot. So let's zoom out. And sometimes it's hard to control your ship in third person here. We'll try that. We'll see how well that turns out. So we'll zoom in a little bit. And to do a screenshot, you hold down your print screen button. And then a screenshot is taken and it's saved to whatever directory you have set up. Let's go back to our default view, and we're going to hit F4 one more time, go back into the cockpit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go forward by using the W key. W is forward, S is back, A is straight left, and D is straight right. Now you see we're going forward, but we're going forward pretty slow. Well, why are we going forward so slow? Well, it's because our engines are still down. So we're basically using thrusters to go forward. Because we're in space, it's not that much of a problem. If we were in atmosphere, we would be going super slow because while we could go up and down really fast, we couldn't really go forward very fast because our engines aren't going fast. As I let go of W, you can see our retro thrusters are kicking in. You see those little thrusters there? I know they're small, but that's what prevents us from still moving forward because we have commanded the ship to stop moving altogether. So, what we can do to change the VTOL, you're going to hit the K or the kilo key on your keyboard. So let's go ahead and hit K. You're going to watch the engines transform. So now our VTOL is off, and now our engines are facing, like normal thrust here. So as we hit W, you can see they're putting out a lot of thrust. We just went to SCM speed that quick, and that's why the thrust in the engines has gone down. Let me hit F4. You can see we're at SCM. I'm going to let go of it, and you can see we're using 100% the retro thrust to slow down. So just like that, we have slowed down. I'm going to go back into VTOL mode. I'm going to zoom out. And like I told you before, this is spacebar is thrust up. Control is thrust down. Now, let me give you a point of view here. Here's Evers Harbor. So let's do thrust up. Well, okay, let's say you want to thrust up really fast. You can actually use Afterburner while you thrust in any position. Forward, backwards, left, right, up, or down. You can use the Afterburner key. However, it is going to tax your ship, and your coolers can only handle so much Afterburner before they go down, and they'll actually shut off your engines if you overheat your ship. So I'm going to start going up, and I'm going to hit the left shift key to actually right now I'm at SCM. So I'm going to use my mouse wheel and scroll up, and I'm going to hit the left shift key to give us Afterburner. So now we're going even faster. Let's see how long before it shuts the ship off. It might not do it at all. Yeah, it didn't do it at all because we're already maxed out with upwards thrust. So we can let go of that. You'll see our top retro thrusters on top there, keeping us from going up. Let's transform our engines. And see, now we're slowing down from going up way slower. Let me do our VTOL again. And see how much faster it is that we're going down? That's because we're in a VTOL position. We're even getting a red out because we're still in the atmosphere, technically. Okay, so we've stopped that. Let's transform our engines to normal thrust. Okay, so let's look around the cockpit area real quick. I haven't hold down F, and we're going to look around. You guys, you should be fairly familiar with multifunction displays here, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus a radar and a warning panel here in the cockpit of the Cutlass Black. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this top panel here. I'm holding F, and I'm using my mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Now from here, this is the ship status screen. So this gives me a little visual readout of my shields, a visual readout of my ship, and if there's any damage. It'll also, if the turret is on, it'll tell me what position the turret's in. It'll also give me a rough look at my EM and my IR signatures, which are very high because this ship is called Loud and Proud. I'm not trying to hide where I am. Now there's these buttons which will rotate your ship around, and these guys will just give you different views on your ship. So you can kind of see like where you take damage at. Or if you want to see a specific part of your ship. So I like top down. That's my favorite view. Now we can change this view by going to menu. Sometimes you have to double click. And let's say we want the shield loadout. Well, here's shields. Okay, so now we're at shields. We can see our shields are at 100% on all 4 quadrants. Forward, back, left, and right. The way you change your shields is I have to let go of F. Is on your number pad. If you hit 8, 4, 6, or 2, it will double charge that side of your shield. 8 being forward, 2 being back, 4 being left, 6 being right. And you'll have more shields in those areas by taking shield power away from the other areas. So let's go ahead and hit 8 and take a look at the shields here. So it dropped my left, right, and back shields to 83%. Let's see what it's going to charge my front shield to. So, I mean, if you are heading into a big dogfight or someone is constantly attacking your front shield, you could definitely double up your shields. Now, I'm at 150 right now. Let's hit 8 one more time. We'll take even more power away from our other shields and put it towards that front shield. And I believe at this point, it'll actually go to 200. Maybe 175. I can't remember. Nope, looks like it's going to go higher. Yep, we're going to have 200% front shields at the expense of my other shields. Now, if I hit 8 again, guess what? Even more power up to the front shield. So you guys get how it works, right? So to go back to even out your shields, you hit the 5 key on your number pad. And that'll start reducing your front shield or whatever shield's charged up and start feeding your other shields. I'm not quite sure what all this stuff does. I'm not worried about it because I use hotkeys. Do not hit the standby button. You can go to items here. And you can look at the power, the health of your shield component, the wear, and the heat it's putting out as well. And you can turn them off right here. So if I turn them off, my shields are dropping because they're turning off. And then I'm going to see my EM signature is dropping too. Obviously, because the shields are off. And you can go right back in here and go to items, and you can turn it back on. Power comes up. And my shields will start charging again. So, that's the shields. Down here, this guy, this is the heat menu. I know it says stealth right here. This doesn't do anything. If you want to go stealth, I'm sorry, that was the power menu. If you want to go stealth, you have to go to heat. And you have to suppress your IR. You can do this in any ship. See, I'm at 14,000. I'm going to go down to 12. But it really is not going to do anything on this ship. So I'm going to turn that off. We're going to go back to our power menu. Now, right now, this little power triangle, it doesn't really do anything from what I've seen. I can put this thing maximum up to shields, and it's not like my shields are going to get any more power here. By the way, I need to hit 5 again. Shields are charging slow. Anyway, back down to this screen. So this power triangle really doesn't do anything. I just usually leave it centered. I think this is future gameplay, guys. It'll also tell you your heat, your EM, and your IR. Now, you can go to items here. This is useful. I can go over here and I can actually overclock some of my components. So let's go ahead and we will shoot our attritions. So you guys saw how fast that was. Not super fast. Let's go ahead and overclock both of our attrition 3 repeaters. Sometimes it acts funny. And you know, when you scroll in and scroll out, you can actually scroll in. You can use this slider over here. It doesn't want to show me the overclock. It doesn't even want to show me that it's powered on. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. We're going to shut down the ship. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hit I.
Engines offline.
We took our engines offline. Now we're going to hit U and we're going to power down. The whole ship. Whole ship is dark. Now we're just floating in space. There's nothing going on. We're going to go back in. We're going to hit R. Just like we started that for real. Yep. Let's go back. So it still kept that where attrition 3s are overclocked. I can't tell if this one's overclocked or not. So let's shoot. See how one of them is going really quick? So that's what overclock does. It will overheat faster. So you can put increased wear and overheat on your different items here. I don't know why it didn't show up as overclocked. I usually don't overclock, so I really don't know what to do to troubleshoot that. But I do know that over here, well, let's try this priority reset. That doesn't do anything. Okay. Over here, it does tell you the health of each individual component. Let's take that overclock off. And then, like on the Prospector or something, you can scroll down and you can overclock your mining laser, and it'll actually have a higher power output. We could overclock our Gatling guns here. There we go. They're overclocked. That's really fast firing for those. And if we de-overclock them, jeez. There we go. And now we'll shoot them. I know it seems like it's the same speed, but it's not. And there's other components in here you can change as well. So we already went over the heat page here. to suppress your IR, just click this. But you can go to items here and you can overclock on the heat page as well. The weapons page. On the weapons page, you can tell how many missiles you have left, and then you can turn your guns on and off. The 0 button is your left mouse button. The secondary fire button, the 1 is your right mouse button. If you click on guns, you can turn off individual guns instead of just the whole group. You can also find out this should be a laser instead of a bullet, but it says ammo 0 because those are lasers, but these are actually ballistics, so they have ammo. The lightning is how much power it takes to power it. The heart is how much health each weapon has, because you can damage just a single weapon. This temperature thing is the heat, and I'm not sure what this gear looking thing is. Over on missiles, you can tell how many missiles you have left. I'm sorry, what size they are, the type they are. It says they're both cross section. They are not. One of them is EM. I think the Thunderbolts are EM. Right now it says payload of strike, but the ammo count is accurate. There's 4 of those and 8 of these. So that is the weapons page. The target status page. When you have a target, it'll have their information up here. If we don't have one, so it'll be over here by default. Some ships up in the top right corner of the HUD, like right here, they'll actually have the target page, and over here on the left, they'll have your ship. So you don't need a ship status page. So we went over everything but comms here. Under comms, these are all my friends I have in game. But if I wanted to talk to a station, we're too far away from Earth's Harbor to call for a landing, but it would be in one of these guys. And if I wanted to call someone in game and we were on the same server, I could make a phone call to them. So, like these guys, I'm not sure what the QT button means. There is a refresh. Let's say I wanted to call Black Bora, I could hit this little guy, and it would try to hail Black Bora. I don't know if he's in game or... I don't think he is. But it says we joined channel direct message. So if it did show up, his picture would show up down there, and we could talk to him. The way we would talk to him is we would press the plus key on our number pad, and it makes a little keying sound like that. And now we're talking in the game as well as to our comms. Just out loud, the normal voice, your mic will pick it up. And then you let go and it dekeys your mic. So we can also cancel this. And our conversation is ended. So that's basically all the displays. The radar here is 2D. If it's 3D, it'll actually give you height. But the 2D just kind of tells you where in the area that you need to move your ship around to find your target. And then your warning panel here, power, heat, proximity, quantum fail, power low, weapon heat, radar lock, missile warning, thruster heat, shields are down, and your cooling has failed. So over here, we're going to change this back to self status. And these are the displays I like to have on here. Looking around the rest of the cockpit, you have your stick here, engine on, engine off, spool your quantum drive. You can use any of those commands. Notice I'm holding the F button down. There's your power button over here. Over here, you can open the exterior. So if I click that, let me hit F4 to see how it opened all the exteriors. Right? And then we can go over here and we can close our exteriors. And then you got press to unlock, and if you do that, then anybody can get into your ship when you're landed. If you are normal and locked, only you and party members can have access to your ship. So if you want to leave your ship for a friend to use and you log out of the game, you want to make sure it's unlocked. Because once you're out of the party, they can't get in. I think, see, I can use to the right, I can exit, and that'll just exit my seat. I think that's about it. Drake ships do not have an ejection seat. Yeah, so instead of using the exit thing, I'm going to use Y. And we're going to, I held down Y. That's how you exit a pilot seat, hold down Y. I'm not going to bother with the co-pilot. The co-pilot has really no function right now. They can pull up all the screens, but they can't fire any missiles. They can't fire any weapons or anything like that. But now that we have lights on our ship, and we're out of an armistice zone, I'm going to pull out a weapon. So I'm going to hit 2. I'm going to pull out my Night Stalker. I'm going to go up to the weapon rack here. I'm going to hold F and click place. And there you go. It placed my weapon. If I want to get it back, I'm going to click this guy and click equip. And now I got my weapon ready to go. To stow my weapon, I'm going to hold the R button. And it holsters it. To get into your bed, you hold down F. You go to sit or lie down. You can log out in space, but you got to be lying down to do it. And then let's go to the turret. So we're going to come up to the turret, hold down F, click on enter turret. We're going to go sit down on our turret. We're going to go up into the turret space. Now, when you're inside the turret, it does nothing right now. You have to turn it on first. So I'm going to hold down F. I'm going to find the power button. I'm going to click it. And it's going to turn on.
Hello and welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft.
Now you can see my attritions to the left and the right of me, and I can fire them. Now I can barely see the front of the ship. I can see the back of the ship. It will not let you shoot your ship. I didn't hit my ship at all. But really, this guy is for backwards pursuers and guys that are on the top. There is no bottom turret here. You can spin around. You can even do that in third person. So I'm spinning around the ship. Now, there are a couple different buttons here. You have switch gyro mode. So the gyro mode is whether your turret is slave to the pilot's movements. If gyro mode is on, as the pilot moves the ship, your turret will kind of automatically move with it. If gyro mode is off, you will be completely independent of the pilot, which means you will stay on the target wherever it's going, and the turret won't move, the ship will move, if that makes sense. Then you have fire mode. Let's click that. And you see how it alternates the fire of my guns? I don't particularly love it. This, I guess it won't let me do it again. It won't let me do it again. That's okay. This guy, this is increased sensitivity for your gyro, increase, decrease. So if I click increase, I should be moving faster. See how I'm moving faster around here? And if I hit decrease, I should be moving a little. Oh, no, not really. I didn't move much slower. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to move you a little bit slower. Oh, it looks like there's still some bugs to be worked out. You do have a couple screens here, but you can't fire missiles or do anything, but you can look to see where like the power and the heat settings are. And that's about it. You do have an exit button down here. We'll go ahead and click that. Your turret will center. And you'll leave the turret bay. Wait for the animation to finish before you start moving around, or you could fall through the ship. Back in the cargo area, you can see over here we can open our doors. And we technically are not moving, so I could just hop out and EVA back in. And we can even open the cargo ramp if we wanted to. But this is just a basic cargo area. Let's go back in the cockpit. Now that we have a basic ship tour of the Cutlass Black, let's take a look at the HUD real quick. So you notice I'm moving the mouse, and I have this little triangle reticle. That's what's moving the direction of the ship. The reason it's like that is because I am in locked mode. I do not have any gimbals on this ship, so I will only be able to be in locked mode. To switch that mode, you gotta hit G on the keyboard. I'm hitting G right now, nothing's happening. If I did have gimbals, I would have started out in target mode, which means instead of that little triangle thing moving around, the actual crosshair itself would be moving around and the triangle would be centered. But the crosshair is where your weapons are going to fire. So my crosshair is pointed straight ahead, my weapons are going to fire straight ahead. If I move up, you see the weapons follow the crosshair. So if you have gimbals and you're in target mode and you move your crosshair around over here, your gunfire will follow where you move your mouse. If you hit G, the first one will take you to lock mode. In lock mode, everything is locked straight ahead. You will always fire straight ahead. If you go G one more time, you'll go into auto mode. There'll be a dashed line that comes up around here, and you'll be in auto gimbals. What that means is as long as you keep this reticle centered in the target area around the target pip, the gimbals will move automatically to try to lock onto your target and fire at it. So you don't have to be as precise. This guy up here, this is your speed indicator. So we can control that using the mouse wheel. Mouse down to go down, mouse up to go up. This little red marking bar right here, this means SCM speed. And you can set that to a button nowadays. SCM speed is basically your combat maneuvering speed, and you get your best performance of your ship when you're at this level. If you go above that, you will not be as effective in maneuvering in combat. However, you will be faster, and that could be an advantage. Over here is your thrust indicator. Whether you're going forward thrust, or I'm going backward thrust, or if I'm going side thrust, or if I'm going right thrust. You see that little indicator that's moving around the screen? That little guy, yeah, right there next to my reticle, that guy that was right there, that is your vector indicator. So if you're going up or down, see it's at the top of the screen now, but I start going down, it'll start moving down. It's at the bottom of the screen now. Left, right. There we go. I got it moving around now. That's your vector indicator. This guy is your actual speedometer. It'll tell you how fast you're going in meters a second. I'm not going to get into G-Safe or ESP in the noob tutorial. However, I will tell you coupled mode. What coupled mode does is, let's go ahead and go SCM speed, and I'll go cruise control. So we're going to be moving forward, and we are moving right now. We are moving forward. If I turn around, if I do a 180, you're going to see my speed up here drop and then come back up. Well, that's because the ship changed direction. Let's say we're going here steadily, and I want to keep going the same direction I'm going, but I still want to turn my ship. You can do that. You got to hit the V key, and it'll uncouple your engines. You'll still keep going the same direction you're going, but you can turn your ship. So that's what this means. So I'm going to hit V, and this is going to turn off that light. And now I'm going to move my ship 180 degrees, and I can even fire the weapons. But my speed, I'm still going the direction I'm looking right now. I'm still going technically backwards. That's what uncoupled does. If I hit V to recouple, you'll see my speed will go down and then come back up. Because now I'm coupling my engines, and I'm basically doing a flip and burn type of maneuver. And now I'd be going forward. Over here is your decoy and your noise. These are your countermeasures. Your decoy is basically your flare, and your noise is your chaff. They affect missiles in different ways. Over here you got your fuel, your quantum fuel, and your hydrogen fuel. You only use quantum fuel when you're in quantum. You use hydrogen while you're flying around space or the atmosphere. You see how my hydrogen just went up? That's because some of these ships actually collect fuel as you're flying. So if you just sit there, you will eventually refuel your hydrogen fuel. And then, of course, this is my missile indicator. And it'll tell me how many missiles I have left. Excuse me. I can switch this over to my other missiles. I have a special setup in my options for my sticks. I switch using a button on my sticks. but you can actually go to your options. Whoops, I can go to my key bindings here. And on your mouse, it'll tell you to lock your missiles, you push down on this middle mouse button. That acquires the missile lock. Once you're locked, you hold down the middle mouse button and it'll fire. But it doesn't tell you, like, other than firing weapon group 1 and 2, like, what buttons kind of do what. So we're going to go in advanced controls. Now, mind you, this is in flight, keyboard and mouse. Let's find out where it's at. Let's go to flight missiles. So to cycle your missile type forward, it's button 5 on my mouse. Now I had to set that up. Button 3 is my middle mouse button. And to fire and hold, or launch missile to hold, it's button 3, my middle mouse button. So if I hit button 5 on my mouse, I should be cycling my missile type. So let's try that. If I can remember which one's button 5. Yep. So, and I just do forward. I don't do back because it'll just cycle. And that way I only need to remember one button. So that's about it. Let's go in and a couple more things. You notice how I'm like zoomed in right now, right? Well, sometimes that happens, and the way to zoom back out is to hold down your left alt button and mouse wheel scroll out. So I'm kind of sitting back away. Well, let's go ahead and F1, go into our Mobiglass. Let's find a contract. If you're ever going to go dogfighting, you want to take mercenary and call to arms. Then you're going to untrack it. This is just in case. And plus, you'll always get money if you're shooting down someone with a crime stat, even if it's an NPC. Let's go back in general. Since we're in the Hurston area, there's going to be bounties. I'm pretty confident in my Cutlass Black. So let's go with I don't want to do a group, but I don't have any high risk targets, or very high risk. I got a couple medium. Oh, I do have a high risk right here. So this guy pays 11,000. If I was to do a bounty or a group bounty for that, 61,000, which is a lot. So let's just do a single. It'll be the one guy whose name is Elliot Dasgupta. And it'll be a couple of his friends that show up. So we're going to hit accept. And his contract shows up here. We're going to hit F2, or you can click on the skyline option here. And we're going to go to our map. Now I'm going to zoom out with scrolling down on my mouse. And now I have the Hurston system here. If I want to get a bird's eye view of the Hurston system, I double left click on the planet. If I keep zooming out, I will get the entire solar system, or if I'm zoomed in, I can just double right click and I'll get the whole solar system again. I tend to zoom in on planets a little bit before double left clicking them. Now I'm using the left mouse button to rotate my map in 3D. If I use the right mouse button, I'll move it around in a 2D plane. So I'm going to move it in 3D till I can kind of see Aberdeen over here. I'm going to kind of zoom in on it so I can see the moon. I'm going to double click on the moon itself. And it brings me into this view of the moon. I'm going to circle around with my left mouse button until I see this target guy over here. I'm going to hover over it, and you see this green line changes. I'm going to click on it. This up here changes to rendezvous beacon, the arranged meeting place for your upcoming appointment. I'm going to hit set route. It was able to set the route. I'm going to go to Aberdeen, OM1, and then the rendezvous beacon. And it's going to use 1.66 of 2,500 quantum fuel. So plenty of fuel left. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my Mobiglass. Now on the screen, you can see this guy right here. This is where I need to go to my first quantum marker. So I'm going to move my ship down towards it. There we go. And to start quantum, you hit the B key. It's got to spool up. Now this is your actual quantum computer itself. This has to be at 100. This guy over here is your calibration to where you're trying to go. You can have this spooled without having the calibration done, but you can't quantum without having both of them done. Now that they're both calibrated and spooled, I'm going to hold down the B key and we will quantum to Aberdeen. Okay. Quantum is now off. Now we see our target is on the other side of the moon. So we have to go to an OM marker first. Now I'm going to do this combat. I'm going to do this first one in mouse and keyboard. So you're going to be able to see my little cursor move around here. And the next one, I'm going to go into joystick, where I will lose that cursor and I'll be able to move with my sticks. So let's line up on the marker. We're going to hit B. And our quantum is going to spool up. I was saying B, by the way. B is in Bravo. All right, we're calibrated. I'm going to quantum by holding B. Okay, now I am going to turn cruise control off by hitting the Charlie key or the C key. So I guess that's another thing I forgot to do. As you spool up your speed here, you can go into cruise control by hitting Charlie or C. That little caret here shows up, and it'll move you to that speed. You can also move it down, and it will move your speed down as well. Now, I have a button set up just for exact SCM, and I just did that. What I like to do is I like to move about 2 bars up from SCM when I fight. So I consider this bar 1 and that bar 2. I don't use this little half bar. So I'll go up to about there. And that's the speed I'll actually fight at. So let's line up to our next mark here. Hit B. We're going to quantum to him. We'll see if he's already spawned in when we show up. So he's going to be over here, okay? So now this marker went away, and now it's over here. Now he radar locked us, so he sees us. We're not stealth. We're loud and proud, and he's flying towards us. So I'm going to target this guy in my reticle. If I move away and I hit T right here, it doesn't do anything. But if I can, now his friend showed up. But if I have him in my reticle and I hit T, now I've targeted him. So now he's actually going to try and shoot us. So I'm going to start giving myself some throttle. I'm heading straight towards him. I'm hitting D. You can see my vector indicator, this guy over here, start to move away. And all I'm doing is I'm engaging in like a circle of death. You see my missiles are out of range. Right here below minimum range. And we're just kind of get in with him here. And we're just going to establish close contact. And right now I am hitting A. And I'm turning to the right, and I'm going kind of forward. So I'm going to start shooting him. I'm going to aim at this little pip. See that little pip that moves around in front of him? That guy right there that's moving as he moves? That's what I'm aiming for. And this is a Vanguard Warden. Now I'm going to hit both mouse buttons. Since I have repeaters, I can be a little wild with it. I'm not super worried, but he is taking down my shields. So I gotta try some evasive actions here. And I'm just hitting W right now. Comes around me, I move around a little bit. I'm always keeping my nose pointed at his ship. That's the key. But to avoid being hit, you gotta kind of move around. You gotta turn your ship. There he goes. So now I'm gonna get the money from the main target. You'll see at the top here, subdue bounty. And then it'll tell you how much I made. 12,000, because I get a little bonus. And then I should get money from Call to Arms. Oh, maybe not. So one thing I forgot to mention about flying, now we're using Afterburner right now, is the Q and the E keys. Those are your roll keys. Now I'm using Afterburner in this case to flip and burn. But if I hit the E key, I will roll to the right. That's good for avoiding if you use it with a strafe. If I use my Q key, I will roll to the left. But he still hit me with that shotgun. So I'm going to hit T to target this guy. And don't be afraid to use afterburner if they're getting you and you want to strafe faster. Don't be afraid to use that. And don't be too afraid to miss it. Oh, now I got a missile coming on me. I'm gonna hit H. Oh, it still got me. Countermeasures are H and J. But it wasn't this guy shooting at me, it was a different guy. You can also use your space and your control keys. I blew off part of his ship. There he goes. So I got 1,200 for him from just using called arms. So this is a Hornet. Let's actually shoot some missiles at this guy. So we got to get about 1,000 meters away from him, and we'll be in range. Oh, but he wants to joust me, so I'm going to go forward as well. And now I'm going to turn my ship around and use the afterburner to go backwards. So now we're in range. I'm going to click middle mouse button. It's going to lock. I'm going to hold it down now. And I just fired a missile. That's my missile going at him. And I hit him and I blew him up. One missile hit from a size 3 missile blew up a Hornet. So you can see they're pretty powerful. And now he blew his countermeasures. Interesting. Let's switch to our other missiles. Now we have the arresters. I told you those Thunderbolts EMs hit a little harder. So that was basically how to do that. Now, if I hit H... Oh, you can't... Yeah, you see the flare come out there. And you can change that to do all your flares at once or just some of your flares. But right now, I have set mine set to single. But I can hit it multiple times to shoot multiple flares. If you hit J, you'll pop a noise. Which is kind of like this little electromagnetic noise thing. You not only will they lose you as a target, but you'll lose anybody else as a target as well. So that's how that works. To turn your lights on the outside of your ship, you hit the L key for lights. And let's see if I can light up this debris a little bit. So there's a little bit of light on it. If I hit L, and see it goes darker, lighter, darker. Okay, let's pick another contract, and this time I'm going to use my sticks. And you'll see why joysticks are really kind of a nice thing to have for missions like this. So we'll take a high-risk target mission. Dallas Pajak. I will hit F2 to go to my map. This guy is at Aberdeen, so I can just click. Oh, see, I clicked here, and it went to Aberdeen. So sometimes you got to click on Aberdeen itself, double-click it, scroll around the planet till you get that little green line. Click on it. It's rendezvous beacon up here. Set route. Now I have OM2 to the rendezvous beacon. So now I'm going to move my ship to OM2. That little diamond. And we're going to quantum to it. Now, as soon as I get into the target area is when I ditch my mouse and I go to my joysticks. But I actually do everything in mouse and keyboard unless I'm specifically in ship combat. Because I'm so used to that, it's just second nature to me. Now, when I use my sticks, I employ a lot more maneuvering thrust. So I actually have a dual T16000 setup. I have two of the same joysticks. So I can auto-target here. Well, not auto-target, but hit my target button. And now we're flying towards the sky. But I can easily roll my ship while maintaining thrust. And I got two hands working at the same time. I got an afterburner button. I got a speed brake button, which we'll get into in just a sec. And it's just a little more precise to aim your weapons with a joystick. I can find that pip a little bit easier. I can roll my ship at the same time, maintain throttle, straight left to right, use afterburner. Those shotguns do quite a bit of damage. And desync didn't help. Okay. I don't know what I ran into. I don't know if that was a random asteroid bug or oh, it looks like I actually hit an asteroid that I didn't see. Hey, you know what? Sometimes that stuff happens. It sucks. But you guys actually got to see Fist get killed in combat. Because I didn't abandon the mission or technically lose the mission, I'm not going to be penalized for anything. I can just call another ship and go right back out there, which is what we're going to do. There's been a bug in 3.12 where you just sit there and you blow up. It's happened to me on stream before. It's happened to me in the game a bunch of times. I think this time I actually ran into an asteroid while maneuvering, but I didn't see it. So maybe it just had rendered in or something like that. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you guys actually saw that happen. But we're going to come out here. And the first thing I'm going to do is claim my Cutlass Black. Because we have plenty of time here. So I'm going to hit the claim button. We're going to file our claim. It's 13-minute claim. 13:30. Let's see how much it is to expedite. It'll take 2 minutes to expedite and cost that much. I'm not going to do it. I think we'll just call a starter ship. Let's call our Mustang Alpha out here. And we'll see how well smaller weapons work on this guy. Pab 1. Okay, let's head out to Pab 1. Yep, waiting for the elevator again. I like in 312 how this person doesn't move ever. She just kind of stands there. She'll look at you, but she never moves. It's like she has some kind of weird gear on too. Oh, there's our elevator. Pab 1. So the key I was going to tell you guys about, which I haven't gone over yet, is the X key or X-ray. That is basically your space brake. Notice how it's on the left side of the keyboard next to all the other important flight type of keys. WSAD, your Z key for free look, your C key for cruise control, your V key for coupling, your shift key for afterburner, your spacebar, and your left control. Those are all things you can use with your left hand with your right hand on the mouse. So things are actually set up for that. Now your X key, all it's going to do, it's not going to necessarily make you go backwards like the S key would. It's actually just going to apply retro thrust and you are going to stop. And it's going to do retro thrust on all axes. So you're stopping your ship from rolling and spinning and doing anything. Whereas S is just engines in reverse, basically. So we're going to hit F2 again real quick. We're going to reset our route to the rendezvous beacon. We're going to pop up here. Raise our gear. Now this ship, notice we started in target. And you see how the reticle moves around the center point. So my guns will follow the reticle. If I hit G to lock my target, everything fires forward. If I hit G one more time, you get this dotted line here. My guns will follow the target pip if the pip is inside of this dashed circle here. So let's go to fighting speed since we plan on fighting right away. And we will quantum. I shouldn't have been able to fire my weapons because we're in armistice. But there's bugs. Okay, so we got to Aberdeen. Let's go to our guy in the little asteroid cloud. And again, I'm going to grab my sticks. I don't necessarily need more displays. I'm kind of aware of how the Mustang Alpha works. So that's probably our guy here. Oh, there he is up there. So we need to get maybe a little closer. He's not really showing up on radar, even though he's there. So I don't know if this is some kind of a bug or what's going on. Oh, looks like there he is. Or not. So the neutralize thing here really is just a marker, but they're firing on me. Okay, now I see a target in my radar. So now I'm gonna use the power of auto gimbals and smaller weapons just to be more accurate here. Now notice I turned into his. I moved my nose of my ship to the left when he turned, and I thrustered to the left when he turned. And there he goes. Let's pick up his friends here. I'm gonna target my reticle. This guy's an Anvil Hurricane. Oh, we got a bunch of guys coming in here. This might be someone else's mission. I don't know if the Alpha can handle all these ships. We're gonna find out. So trying to dodge as much as I can. I'm using an up and down movement. I'm rolling the ship around like that. I'm using afterburner and strafing thrust. So I'm kind of moving in 3 directions at the same time. And that helps to dodge. If I can hit him and he can't hit me, that's a good thing. I'm doing some damage to him. He's probably not long for this world. There we go. All right. That was $1,000. Let's take this guy. It's a Gladius. These guys are kind of janky. He went quick. Okay, Aegis Saber. Not stealth, apparently. Saber has 3 shields. You see I'm rolling my ship? I'm still maintaining target. I don't have any missiles in the Mustang Alpha, so I have to rely on all my guns. And there he goes. So, I'm gonna go after this guy and the Mustang Delta. So what I did right there was I went forward, and then as I turned, I used reverse thrust. And you can see that in my dogfighting video, kind of how I do my maneuvering. And I'm just trying to slow down a little bit so I can turn at a better radius. He took some damage on that. He hit a piece of debris, it looked like. So now he's flying around with 1 engine all crazy. Sometimes they're hard to hit when they're all crazy. Try to keep the center of your reticle. Oh, someone's trying to get a missile lock on me. Oh, too close, buddy. Gladius Valiant. Rolling the ship. Using thrust to my advantage. Although he is faster than me. Just staying on a 6. Using strafing to the right, strafing to the left. Use of afterburner. He jousted me. Keeping my nose on him is the biggest key. Because you can't hit him if you can't see him, right? Whoa! Trying to predict their movements is usually the best, but sometimes they can be real janky like that, and the desync doesn't help either. Shit. Yeah, get mad all you want, buddy. He's not really shooting me, but I am shooting him. As you can see, I'm pretty much just with the strength. I was dodging his shots, which is a pretty big deal. Okay, hey, I managed to get all 6. Was it 6 guys? So I did end up taking a little damage here, as you can see up here in the HUD. Let's take a visual. I don't have any like hard engine damage here. I really don't have any visual degradation either. So it's not super bad. But it is damage. So let's go ahead and hit cruise control. And now I'm going to take it off and hit W. This is the normal slowdown. I let go of W for the Mustang. I'm going to hold down X. And this is going to, you know, keep me from doing anything. Now I'm going to go forward again. Remember, you can use X with afterburner as well for your retro thrusters. So I'm holding X, and now I'm afterburning as well. So even faster. You can slow down even faster, but it does cost cooling. So if you're trying to fire your weapons and do other stuff at the same time, you only have so much coolant to go around. So let's there's nothing else we can really do. I was gonna do some more stuff in the Cutty Black, but this is kind of a basic noob on how to fly your ship. Let's go into a couple more buttons that we haven't used. Like I did earlier, when I hit the I key, that will shut off your engines. If you hit the O key for Oscar, it'll shut off your shields. Your shields will fall. If you hit Papa or the P key, it will turn off your weapons.
Weapon systems disabled.
So I can't do anything. I can't fire. I can't move my ship because the engines are off. Nothing. The uniform key, or U, that will cut power to your ship.
Shields enabled.
Actually, because I had everything off, it turns power on, but I can hit it again, and the ship shuts down. So now I'm just dead space out here, just the battery is on. And remember, it's so quiet out here in space, no one can hear you scream. Okay, let's go back in the cockpit, and I'm going to hit R, and it's going to turn stuff back on.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
All right, so remember, my gimbal's reset because we reset our weapons. So you got to hit G a couple more times, get that gimbal. And everything's still working. So let's head on back to Everest Harbor. I'm going to bring up my map. I'm going to zoom out from Aberdeen, double click Hurston. And now I'm just going to zoom in on Hurston. Now, these stations are always right above that big black, or the big blue circle here. The main stations, Port Tressler for Microtech, Bajini Point for ArcCorp, and Everest Harbor for Hurston. If we were to zoom in on that, the station's right there. Everest Harbor up here on the right. If we zoom in, we can see it just says Everest Harbor. Kind of hard to see, but we can set our route. Not very much quantum fuel. Now, there's always the fun of getting to Everest. What the game's going to do is it's going to take you to Hurston, and then you're going to have to find Everest Harbor again. So we're spooled. Notice how that size 1 Atlas drive spools up way faster. But it's also significantly slower than the size 2. Okay, so we're at Everest. No, we're at Hurston is where we're at. So if you hit B, you can do a blind jump, and we can just try to lock onto Everest like that. Or you can go back to your map, and since Everest is already in here, you can just hit set route again. And it'll remove all the other targets except for Everest. You'll have to recalibrate, but not a big deal. And we will quantum. And there she is. Beautiful Everest Harbor. Pretty much my home, except for Port Olisar. We'll set our cruise control. I like to go a little fast to get here because I'm impatient. And we're going to go in for a landing. I guess this is a basic ship control video after all, so. Once we land, we're going to get all of our stuff refilled, and then we're going to go into the actual keyboard stuff. I'm going to turn off cruise control here. Go back to SCM speed. I'm going to hit F11. And that's going to bring up my comms. I'm going to go to friends. Everest Harbor's here at the top. I'm going to hit transmit. It opens the comm channel. They're going to tell us where to land. Okay, you can drop your Mobiglass at this point, and the arrow is where we're going to land, right there. So, now I got to drop my landing gear, so I'm going to hit N for November to drop my gear. I know it works on the Mustang because the wings fold up.
Landing gear engaged.
And I typically, as I come in for approach, right around half SCM, sometimes a little bit faster. Now, when you get into the landing area, you will have a pitch ladder show up on your HUD. Now I'm hitting X to slow down with Afterburner. And I'm just kind of tapping W. Now, see, it's subtle, but there is a pitch ladder right here. Ideally, you want to be at 0, straight and level, and then land. Or you can cheat and hold, once you're in this kind of area right here that's the flashing dotted lines, you can hold down the N key and you will auto land.
Automated landing engaged.
And you will land directly in the center of the pad.
Landing complete.
So landing is complete.
Landing complete.
I wait for both the ship and the guy to tell me it's complete before I open my Mobi up. I will hit the wrench icon and we will repair, restock. Gotta do that. Refueling, right now these are broken. They're both the same amount no matter what you do. I believe you can do one and then come back and do the other. But if you do the wrong one, you can't do the other one. And I don't remember what order it is. So I just redo them both at the same time. Look, end of the day, this is 66 UEC. This is 230. This is 466. Not even 1,000. And I was making 1,000 just with call to arms. So that's part of the price. Paying for gas. So you're going to see down in this area, we just refueled the Quantum. The hydrogen's going to go now. That's full. Now they were going to refuel my weapons. Or restock my weapons. And then this guy up in the corner, you're going to see him flash up in the top left corner. And that means they're repairing my ship. And my ship is fully repaired. It is ready to go back out into combat. But we're not going to go there. We're actually going to shut down the ship by hitting I for engines.
Systems disabled.
And then U for power. If you just hit U for power, your engines will still be on. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to hold down Y to hop out of the ship. Okay, so now I'm actually good. The ship it could store on its own, but we're just going to kind of go over here to the edge. And we're going to go into our keyboard settings. So we're going to hit escape, go to options, go back to our key bindings. And so when you hover over the keyboard here, you can see all the different keys. You know, if you hit tab, you'll go into your scan mode. If you hit tab again, you're going to go back into your combat mode. A lot of times alt is a modifier, but it's modifier 1. So if you have something that's a modifier 1, then alt should use it. Typically it should be color coded here. So some stuff I didn't mention as far as targeting goes. You do hit T to do a reticle lock of your target. It used to be a little bit different. You used to be able to hit R and hit the nearest target while you were flying. But they changed that. And they change these key presses all the time, which is why I didn't want to spend too much time on it. But you have 1, 2, 3, and you can pin indexes and basically pin targets, right? So if you hold down Alt and you have something targeted, right? You hold down Alt and hit 1, it will pin that as target number 1. And then you can do the same thing with 2 and the same thing with 3. And then if you want to switch back to those targets, which would be handy in like escort mode, because you can still target a friendly, or if you're trying to do, you know, check the status of a ship, you pin that as say like number 1 or number 3 or whatever, and then you can constantly check back on that ship to see if it's being fired on or whatnot. You can also do this to attackers. But that's after it's pinned, you just hit the number. You just hit 3. Number 4. This will, if you hit 4, it will cycle attacker targets. So it'll go through all the different targets that would be attacking you. If you hold down Alt and you hit it, it'll reset the attacker target closest, it says. Number 5, cycle hostile targets. So 5 will actually go through, I think 5 will go through all the hostile targets, no matter if they're attacking you or not. 6, cycle friendly. So this is all your friends and people you play with. You'll cycle through all friendly targets. 7 will cycle through every single target. And then if you have something targeted like a big ship, like a hammerhead or something, and you want to do subcomponents, like try to blow up its engines or just its shields or whatever, then you would hit 8 once you have something targeted, and you will cycle through its sub-targets. Up here, you have some F5, F6, F7, F8. These are to increase your engine power. I've never found that to actually work for me, so I don't use them. The 9 key is where you can hail the target. The 0 key is where you can remove all your pinned targets if you have stuff pinned. Someone's taking off on a Hornet. Yeah, I think that's really about it as far as that goes. And it looks like F9 and F10, you can decrease your power to minimum, and then F10 is increase your power to max. So that might be handy if you're looking to go min and max. I just use either the mouse wheel or my throttle on my stick. Again, all your shields are up here as well. I think that's really about it. M is used for mining mode. We already went over lights and VTOL. The Y key, the T key. Yep. I think that's about it. Now, this is for keyboard and mouse. Then you have gamepad settings. I don't use a gamepad. Then you have a joystick / HOTAS. So you have different stuff in here, depending on how it's set up. Now, this is not what my stick looks like, so just keep that in mind. If I go to advanced controls, and I only have one joystick hooked up in the game here, but it actually sees both of them. So, for instance, for my targeting, I have all these different buttons set up, and this pin select the target and all this stuff right here, I have a program I use called Joy2Key with the letter TO, Joy2Key, and I basically have a profile I downloaded, which I may go over that in another video. I loaded the profile here in Control Profiles in the game after I downloaded the file. It sets the game up for those type of key press controls for the joystick, and my left joystick, my fire button, my primary trigger, is actually with Joy2Key, it's the right control button. And so if I hold down that button, like say for missiles, the way I switch missiles on my stick, right control and button 2. So button 2 on my right stick, and then right control, which is technically my trigger button on my left stick. So that button 2 is my missile button. So if I hit my missile button, I will do on my right stick, my missile button, button 2, will acquire a missile lock. If I hold it, I will fire the missile. If I hit right control plus my button 2 input, which is my hands never leave the sticks, I will cycle the missiles forward. So that's kind of how that works with having 2 joysticks. When you have a HOTAS setup, you can set your throttle, which is a whole thing by itself. But you can set your throttle up and all the buttons over there to do different stuff too. There's so many settings in here. I mean, you can really customize whatever you want. So that is my basic settings in here. I do want to point out something in game settings. Some of the stuff I have turned on, you got to kind of go all the way to the bottom here. I have pilot driver automatically engage target padlock. I have that as a no. The big one, driver look ahead, is a no. Turret look ahead is a no. Pilot look ahead is a no. What that does is when you have something targeted, you will, I think what it does is when, say, the ship moves like up and right, you will automatically move your view up and right. I don't like that. And if I did want to do that, I would just turn on my Toby. Vehicles targeting, auto zoom on lock target, I keep that off. I like to show my trails and stuff like that. I use a lead pip. I don't use a lag pip. If you like a different type of pip, try out the lag pip. I keep my crosshair on. Weapons, this is off by default. Yeah, so I really don't mess with many of the other settings in here. Because I just haven't needed to, and I've just kind of adapted myself to the game. But yeah, so there you go. And let's go back to the game. The alpha's still out here, and we're gonna go ahead and end the video at this point. It's been almost an hour and a half. I'm sorry it took so long, but there's a lot to get through with the noob tutorial. I will go through the timestamps as best I can and try to timestamp this stuff out. And so if you need to skip to the section to learn certain things, try to do that. But I would encourage you guys to watch the entire video. Before I go, let me plug all my social medias. We got a Twitter account, we got an Instagram account, we got a Twitch account, we got a Facebook account. But our biggest thing, Jawa's been working on the fistingjawa.org website. Now he's going to store the ship. All right, return to the storage. Say it 6 more times. There we go. Let's watch the ship disappear. So yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind hopping over to fistingjawa.org, checking that stuff out. There's more than just a front page. There's a whole menu section. I get it, buddy. Yep, and so there's a bunch of mining stuff on there, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff on it. So fistingjawa.org, please go ahead and visit. There goes the ship. And everybody take care. Be good to each other, and we'll see you on the next video. Good night, Stanton.